All right. So I am Cass from Simply Thermo with Cass, and every fortnight I'm going to be doing a recipe inspiration class. Mine is called Beyond the Recipe. So it is based on going beyond the recipe, going into Cookadoo, creating our own recipes, even converting our own recipes that we have at home that we've used for a while into Thermomix recipes. But today I'm starting a new series, which I thought, thanks to one of my customers, would be an amazing idea. With the current rise of our living costs going up, we thought we'd start with doing things like pantry staples and the different uses that you can get from your pantry staples. So today is sugar. Now, I don't buy this container. I bought this once, but I buy 2 kilos of sugar for $2.40 or $2, no, $2.90 now. And I just want to go through and show you all the different uses that you can have with it, because brown sugar, icing sugar, all that stuff costs more in the supermarket when we have the very main ingredient and we can make it all ourselves. So the only two I haven't made, I won't be making today because I've made ahead of time, only because they take a little bit longer, is sugar syrup. It is literally just sugar and water, and you can use it for things like sweetening iced drinks like cocktails, iced coffees, lemonade, moistening cakes or layering in your desserts, for fruit sorbet, glazes for fruit tarts, and even homemade liqueurs. So this has been in the fridge, so it's really, really thick, but this is literally just sugar and water, and it's just a sweetener, really. The other one is vanilla sugar, and this is the same, literally just sugar with cut up pieces of one vanilla pod. And this has got to sit for 2 to 3 days to infuse the flavor. So you basically use a Thermomix to measure the sugar in, cut up your vanilla pod into pieces, seal the lid, give it a shake, and then let it sit for 2 to 3 days. So today will be its second day. So then there are other uses that you can get out of sugar is things like quick jam, which is literally fruit, sugar, and lemon juice. Other things are like your citrus sugar. So that's literally sugar and lemon or lime zest. Then you've got things like fruit compote, compote, so for on top of your pancakes, or I like to put it in smoothies sometimes, which is, again, fruit and sugar. Candied nuts is just whatever nuts you like to choose, and sugar. And then things like sorbet, which is literally fruit, sugar, and lemon or lime juice. So there's different uses for sugar, but sorbet you can buy in the store. You literally, if you've got the ingredients at home, even better. If you have fruit in the fridge, chop it up, throw it in the freezer. That can make your fruit sorbet. So they're all the different uses that you can have for sugar. So the three I'm going to make today is our brown sugar, our icing sugar, and our sugar icing. So don't get these two confused. We've got our icing sugar and then icing, sugar icing. So that's for your cakes and cupcakes and things like that. So we're going to start with icing sugar, because obviously that's our easiest one, and it's our only dry one today. So I'm gonna bring this over, move those out of the way. Oh, sneezes. Anyway, okay. So moving on to icing sugar. So this literally makes 200 grams of icing sugar, and it's done in 10 minutes. Prep is 5 minutes, but it's literally just sugar. Okay. So now we're going to place 200 grams of sugar in our mixing bowl. Always make sure that you tear it off. I might bring that further over because it's not showing on the screen. All right. Okay, so always make sure you tear your machine. The other thing is, if there's things touching your cable or your machine, it will affect your scales. So make sure the area around your machine is clear. Right, 200 grams. Let's see how close I can get to it, eh? Oh, just over. So with icing sugar, always make sure that your bowl, your lid is all dry. Otherwise, it's just going to stick, which obviously ends up in your food wastage. So because it was done in the green section of our scales, it auto ticked off. So we're going to go next. So it's going to mill it for 20 seconds at speed 10. I'm going to try and keep my microphone away from it because otherwise you'll hear the machine. So, hi, Linda. So we've just done icing sugar. I always take the cap off because I enjoy watching that part. All right. Whew. All right, so that is our icing sugar done in 10 seconds. Just go get drowned out by the sugar dust. All right. For some reason, I can't see the screen. One moment, technical difficulties. That'll do. All right, and then I'm going to use my jam funnel. As much off the lid as I can. Without making a mess, which I'm already doing. But that's okay. All right, so that is our icing sugar done in 10 seconds. So you've gone from normal sugar, which is $2.90 a kilo, depending on where you get it from. I get mine from Aldi's. Oh, down to icing sugar, which, depending on the brand, can be anywhere up to $4 or $5, if not more. All right. Oh, there's my microphone. All right, so now we have icing sugar. So that is added to our sugar syrup, which again is to sweeten our drinks, glazes for fruit tarts, to help moisten cakes. That is not it. And we have our vanilla sugar. So it's literally just sugar and vanilla pods. And you can use that in sprinkling on your baked goods and what else? Stir into coffee and teas and things like that. Hang on. All right, so that was our first one and only dry recipe. The next two are going to be wet ones. So we're doing brown sugar next. I'm not too fussed that there's a little bit of sugar left over. That's fine. All right. Now, keep in mind, if I was doing this at a demo, I would be washing the bowl in between, but obviously, because it's our house and it's just sugar anyway, it's going to be fine. All right, so that was the icing sugar. Now we're going to move down to brown. What's I doing? No, I was doing the other one first. Was I? No, yes, brown sugar. Okay. Oops. So brown sugar is literally your sugar and your molasses. They're the only two ingredients that you need. And if you already have them in your cupboard, then you're already saving dollars. So the first one is 8 ounces of sugar. Now, if the recipe is in ounces, the scales will be 2. So just measure, still follow the scales. And we got too much, but we're still in the green. So if it's still in the green, it's still going to auto tick off. And the next one is 1 ounce of molasses. Oh, all right. So 1 ounce of molasses. So now it's going to mix it for 20 seconds on speed 4. Using leftover Vegemite jars because they work and they're big enough. All right. So that is the brown sugar. But I'm going to put it back on for a little bit. Mix in the last remnants of that icing sugar, which if you do have icing sugar in the bowl, it's not going to affect the brown sugar because, again, it is literally just the normal sugar milled down. But obviously, brown sugar comes from the texture, but a little bit ain't going to hurt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my spoon from the mix shop just to get that off the tops of the blades. I was about to put it in that bowl then, but yes. Just going to put it on for another 5 seconds. So when you go into your timers, yes, they are preset, but if you click on them, you can change them. So at the bottom here, you have presets. You can't reset it. We're just going to go down to 5 seconds. I'm going to leave the speed as it is. All right. Kind of has a little bit of a Vegemite smell. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just the jar. But anyway, so that's it now. Move that out of the way. Oh. And again, I spill it on the bench. Lucky me. So there's your brown sugar. So literally in less than 5 minutes, you've not only made icing sugar, but you've made brown sugar. And saved yourself some money and probably a trip and probably some petrol. All right. So the last one, I am going to rinse this one out. Where is my brush? Right there. So this one will have egg white in it, so I'm not too concerned directly about it being too wet. I still will dry it. All right. So obviously scrape down the sides of your bowl with a spatula. Mix it again, which we did, and transfer to an airtight container and use as needed. So I don't know how much brown sugar you would use in your house. In my house, it's the preferred sugar, especially over wheat Bix. Even though, as much as my children tell me that we force them to eat wheat Bix, we know that they do like it. but only if there's brown sugar. um, I don't know if anyone else remembers, but when I was younger, my grandmother used to make porridge and they used to have like the sugar crystals. I love those. They were always the best on porridge because they'd take ages to melt and they'd just be crunchy in your mouth. Alrighty, I'll rinse off this lid and we'll go again. Okay. So the last one we're going to do is our icing sugar. Now I know that me personally, I haven't done this recipe only because I'm not a big fan of icing on my cupcakes, and when I am, I just honestly think of sitting there stirring the icing sugar in the water and getting the portions right, so I don't. But for the sake of this, we're going to do it anyway because I know my kids like their icing on their cupcakes. All right. I don't know why I'm putting that on. Anyway, moving on. All right, so this one's meant to take 5 minutes and it's meant to make 235 grams. So again, all we're doing is placing 200 grams of sugar. Oh, a little bit over. That's all right. So we're placing sugar and it's going to grind it this time, not mill it down. I'm going to put the cap on just in case because, as I said, I haven't done this recipe. All right. So in this recipe is literally sugar, which it's grounded it down into icing sugar anyway. One egg white, or around 35 grams, and 4 to 5 drops of lemon juice. All right, so now we're going to add our egg white. So these are all things that most of us would have in our cupboard, especially if we're baking and stuff like that a lot. So a lot of the time I tend to free measure. That look like 4 to 5, if not more. All right, moving on. So now it's going to mix that for 10 seconds. I'm just going to scrape down the edges. It doesn't tell me to, but we want it all combined. All right, so then it says use sugar icing as needed. I reckon it probably could use a bit more egg white because it's still really, really thick. That's all right, because we're going to do that. All right, so for those who may not have done it yet, using your lid to separate your eggs. I hate separating eggs, so for me, this is a good thing. So you're literally just putting it in the cap and separating it through there. All right. So I'm going to put that in there and try and give it a bit more time because that's how thick it looks. It's barely budging. I prefer our icing a little bit runnier. And now I've gone back. That one. We're just going to set this as the current step. Add some more egg yolk in. I might add a bit more lemon juice too. And try again. All right, let's have a look at that one. There we go. That is our sugar icing. So I generally would adjust that one because I think it's too thick. So I would add the extra egg white. It does say 35 grams. So maybe my egg white just wasn't that much. All right. Okay, so there is now our icing sugar icing. So we have the sugar syrup, which is literally sugar and water, and you can use that in your iced drinks, cocktails, coffees, lemonade. It can be used to moisten your cakes, layer in desserts, for fruit sorbet, for glazes for fruit tarts, and they also use it in homemade liqueurs. But I'm not sure if we touched on the vanilla sugar, but that's literally just sugar and vanilla pods. So these are all the ones so far. So we made, and these three were done in under 30 minutes. You can also do things like quick jam, which is fruit, sugar, and lemon juice. You've got things, so your citrus sugar, which is just sugar and your zest of lemon or lime. You've got your fruit compote, which is fruit and sugar. Candied nuts are nuts and sugar. And then you've got sorbet, which is sugar, fruit, and your lemon or lime. So they're all the different uses that you can get out of, not this container, but I usually just buy the bags, the $2.89 bags from Aldi's of sugar. And you've got all these, so to stock your cupboard. Keep going on the pantry staples. As it was Linda's actual suggestion to show how we can do so many different things from one item to try and save our back pocket as things keep increasing. So other than that, thank you ladies for coming and chat soon.